Hey, Shalom, man. Shalom on the start of souls by giving no praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Kakodash. That belongs to the apostles of GMS and honor to you, brothers doing work in truth, with sincerity. Right, I got the Apostle Tahar, who spoke on Daniel, the seventh chapter, and eighth chapter, and one of his recent videos on Daniel, right? So, basically, there's a on this website here. There's a breakdown of Daniel the seventh chapter, which is identical. It was basically taken when the apostles did a previous video on going through the book of Daniel, right? So I'm just gonna read through it. Really, it's more of a reading exercise more than anything. So I'm just gonna get straight to it. You can look at the address and go there yourself for future reference. If you're like me and your memory ain't that great, right? It's written there for you for when you're on road and everything like that. So this is Daniel 7:1, right? It says, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream, a vision of his head upon his bed, right? Then he wrote the dream and told us some of the matters, right? So it's referring to the son or grandson of Nebuchadnezzar here, right? Verse 2 says, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea, and the four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. Right, so the four great beasts, four kingdoms that will be raised up and then brought down, that will be great in power and wickedness, right? Diverse from one another. The four kingdoms will rule differently, despite having the same gods. Says the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and stand made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Right? It says when the lion had wings, it represents the Assyrian Empire. Right? See Lamassu. Now Lamassu is the that kind of the mythical looking creature, lion's body and like a wings. You can look it up, right? The Lamassu spelled like that there, right? I've actually seen that in the British Museum. Right, it says when the wings thereof are plucked, it represents the Babylonian Empire, right? And if I'm just pressing the three dots, to pull it down. Right, it says, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, right, arise, devour much flesh, right? It says it raised up itself on one side. So one side, the Persians became stronger, right, than the other, right, the Medes. So the Persian Empire was stronger than the Medes, right? This is three ribs. It represents Babylon, Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Lydia, right? Devour much flesh. So the kingdom was vast, right? It says verse 6 says, and after this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl. The beast had also four heads, and dominion was given to it. Right, it says the Greek Empire likened to a leopard because the leopard strikes quick. Right, the four wings of the four generals, Cassander, Ptolemy, Lacenaeus, and Seleucus, right, from whom came Antiochus, the fourth, I think that is. I don't know if that's a mistake, but yeah, from whom came Antiochus. Right, it says that Alexander the Greek divided the kingdom to upon his death. Right, it says these four generals are referred to as the Diadochi, the successors. Right, verse 7, after this I beheld in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast, right? Dreadful and terrible and exceeding strong and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Right, now this is the Roman Empire, right? So the residue is referring to all the countries surrounding Rome that Rome taxed, diverse from all the beasts because they didn't have a king, but rather Caesars, right? Verse 8 says, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and the mouth speaking great things, right? The little horn is this current kingdom, more specifically the United States, different to the little horn spoken of in Daniel's the 8th chapter, which is referring to Antiochus, right? So when you read Daniel's 8, there's a little horn mentioned, but in Daniel's 8, it's referring to Antiochus, right? Whereas here, this is referring to America, right? Verse 9 says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. Right, his throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels burning of fire. Right, it says thrones. Well, this is referring to Yahweh. Right, it says thrones will cast down all the kingdoms of the earth until now. Right, it says Ancient of Days, referring to Yahweh. He doesn't have a beginning nor an end. Yahushua, on the other hand, is the beginning and the end. Right, Revelation 1 and 8. Right, he says his wheels as burning fire. Right, it's referring to the chariots. Right. So we carry on. Verse 10 says, a fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. Right, fiery stream, that's a chariot. The same account as in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. Right, judgment, the war of Armageddon, wherein Babylon the Great, America, will be destroyed. Right, verse 11, I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. Right, till the beast, right, the same beast as is referenced in Revelations, right, Esau's power structure, NATO and the EU, his body destroyed. America is going to be completely destroyed and never built again. Right, you can read that, Isaiah 34, Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah 50, right, in other places as well, right? It says no, the parts of Europe that will be destroyed will be rebuilt, right? So in contrast, whereas America will be destroyed completely and never inhabited again, right? These other places, right, that are destroyed, they will be, be rebuilt, right? Verse 12 says, as concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time, right? Prolonged for a season and a time to go into slavery. That's it, man. Right? Because, these, if you ain't of the children of Israel, right, the next world, the first 1,000 years of the next world is hardcore slavery. And that's just right, for all the wickedness that you have done to the children of Israel, right? It says, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom even forever and ever. And that's the beauty. All these heathen nations jostling for the kingdom, not realizing they're jostling in vain, because the kingdom will be given to the children of Israel. There ain't gonna be no negotiation. The other kings, they didn't negotiate power. The Lord is the one who controls, who has power over the earth, right? I believe that was Daniel 4:17. Right, setteth up over at the base of men. Right now, the base of men is ruling, but the Lord's going to flip that round, right, so that the kingdom of Israel can be established upon earth, and it shall rule forever and will never be taken down, right? Yes, saints, the elect of Israel, right? Psalms 50 and 5, Psalms 148:14, right? Daniel 7:19 says, then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. Like the fourth beast started as the ancient Roman Empire, then reincarnated as NATO and the EU. Right? Verse 20, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great thing, whose look was more stout than his fellow. Right, three fell. Right, the three horns that fell represent the French, English, and the Spanish. Look was more stout than his fellows. American Edomites think they're better than the other Edomites, right? And yeah, what does the scripture say? If a kingdom be divided, Satan be cast out against Satan, how shall his kingdom stand? Right? It says, I beheld, and the same horn made power of the saints and prevailed against them. Right? Prevailed against when the Edomites went to America and attacked Gad and Reuben, so-called Native Americans, American Indians, and Seminole Indians, respectively. Right? And then proceeded to take the southern kingdom from the west coast of Africa into slavery. Right? It says, until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Right? Judgment was given. Yahweh will give the power to judge to the Israelites. Right? You read that in Revelations 2. Right? Hold that fast, that which you have. Roughly paraphrasing, that which you have, hold fast till I come. And he that endureth unto the end, to him will I give, a rod, he shall rule over the nations. Roughly paraphrasing Revelation 2:25, 26. Right? It says, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces, devour the whole earth. Right, the ancient Roman Empire did not conquer the whole earth, whereas modern day Rome, America, has done just that. When this man's got military bases throughout the whole world, right? Even allies, his U.S. military bases, even here in the UK, right? It says, and the 10 horns out of his kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and the times and the dividing of time. Right. So, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much trouble me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in mine heart, right? In my heart. All right, so once again, it's just a breakdown of Daniel 7. And as more brothers, do breakdowns of Daniel 7 as well, right? More will be added here. So once again, if you just want to, go check that side out, it's there. Yeah, just take notes whenever you please. So as always, Lord's Order, I was edifying. Till the next time. Shalom.